Hi, my name is Philippe Fournier-Viger, professor at the Harbin Institute of Technology in Shenzhen. It is my great pleasure to be here today for the IFID, the International Forum on Industrial Design, and to give a talk. So today I would like to talk to you about data mining and machine learning, which are some popular technologies, and how can we use them for innovative industrial design. So before I start, I would like to introduce myself a little bit more. I am a Canadian researcher and I'm working in China at the Harbin Institute of Technology in Shenzhen since about 5 years. If you don't know about the Harbin Institute of Technology, we have different campuses, and I am in Shenzhen, the city that is just beside Hong Kong. Okay. So I have a PhD in computer science, so my main specialty is about computers. Okay. I do some data mining, and also I like to work on application related to design. And I am the director of the Center of Innovative Industrial Design at HIT in Shenzhen. So here we have a picture of the team in our center, and I am the director, and also we have many other professors. Also some of them are affiliated professors. And the professors have different backgrounds. So why we call our center innovative industrial design? It is because we want to use the technology to try to make some new type of industrial design. Because at the Harbin Institute of Technology, we are a strong engineering university. And in design, we want to see how to incorporate the technology to try to improve the design. Okay. So the professor in the center, we have different specialties like the human-computer interface. For example, for the design of mobile application or software, the industrial design, also the visual design, and for the design for communication. And also, like me, in computer science, we have the teachers who do the data mining or the big data to analyze the data related to design. And we have some professors that are specialists for the body sensors, the virtual reality, the augmented reality, and also for psychology. For example, to better understand the user that will use the products that we will design. Okay. So here there are a few pictures, some equipment in our lab. We have some very big place that we can use for the augmented reality with some projectors. We can do some movement to control the computer. We also have some car driving simulator we can use to do some experiment about the design for driving. Okay. And also we have a lot of server to do the big data processing, to analyze the data. So we need to have some good computers also. So here, before I start my talk, I want to show you a few design prize that some students in our center received, some graduate students. So here we have, for example, some student, master degree student, who won some prize for the design of a mobile application for fitness at an international competition in Italy. So the bronze design award winner. Okay, so you can see a little bit about this here. Okay. Also, we have other students that work also on the application, the app, the design. So here you can see some other design for the mobile application that also won some awards, this time at the national competition in China, the NCDA. Okay. Beside that, we have many different projects. Here I just tried to show a few of them. We have also some project more about psychology, about how the people interact with the computer. So here, for example, Professor Ho, what she did, she studied how some children who have some social problem, how will they interact better with a robot or with a human. Okay. So, and then we use the brain signal to try to understand about the interaction between the children and the robot or the human and so on. So it uses a lot of technology. Okay. So that was a little bit the overview about some of our projects. We have more, of course. So now I want to talk to you about how we can use machine learning and data mining for the industrial design. So nowadays we are in what we call the data era because we have a lot of data. So the reason why we have a lot of data in design or also other field, it is because the technology has become cheap. Okay, so we can buy the cheap computers. We also have a lot of mobile devices, and we have also the fast network to transfer the data. So the result is we have a lot of data that is collected and stored in some database. It can be the data about how the people use the product, about different designs and many other things, for example. So the data can be about the people, the individuals, the businesses, and also about other organizations like the government and so on. So one big challenge nowadays is how to make sense of all this data. So if we have a lot of data about millions of people who use our products, for example, maybe we want to analyze the data by hand, but it will be very time consuming and maybe not reliable, because if you look at the data by hand to try to understand the data, maybe you will miss something. You will not see everything that is important in the data. So in the field of data mining, or what we call machine learning, the idea is we want to use the computers to help us to analyze the data, to make sense of the data. We want to use the data, for example, to understand the customers, to be able to do some predictions. They will like our products or not, our design. Okay. So before I talk to you more about this with respect for design, I want to clarify a little bit some definition. So what we call industrial design, I think you all know this, is the process of designing some products that we want to mass produce. Also, sometimes we talk about product development. That means all the steps from developing some basic idea until we even do the manufacturing and the marketing about the products. So, for each product that we design, there is a lifetime of the product. So, the lifetime has three main phases. The first one is what we call the beginning of life. That means the product design and production. So in the beginning of life, we want to find out what the customer wants. We want to create the product that meet the desired functions. We want to choose the suppliers. We want to monitor the product quality when we do the manufacturing. We want to manage how we do the manufacturing using the equipment to make it efficient. These are many things maybe we want to do during the beginning of life. Now the second stage or phase it is the middle of life. Here we talk about the logistic, how we do the inventory in the store, how we order the products, the transportation, the customer service, the product support, the maintenance, and so on. And finally, we have the end of life for the product, how we recover the product, how we recycle the product, and so on. So maybe in design, sometime maybe you think about the first phase to design the good product, but actually I think it is also important to have, some people say it is important to look at all the phases. When we design the product, of course, we need to think maybe about how to do the transportation, how to recycle, and so on. Okay. So, one thing in design that is important, it is how to evaluate the design. So the product evaluation, some people say, it should be done as early as possible when we design the product to avoid the redesign at a later stage. So if we don't see the errors in our design early, we need to redesign again maybe, okay. So because of this, the users are very important in design, I think, as you know already, okay. First, in terms of marketing research, for example, to learn what the user wants, but also to evaluate the user satisfaction, to know they like our products, how they use the products, and so on. So now I want to do the connection with data mining and machine learning. So what kind of data do we have in industrial design or for the products in general? Okay. So first, we have many types of data actually. Maybe you don't realize, but there are many types of data. First, the customer demands, what they want, the characteristics of some products, maybe other competitor products, the production information, the maintenance, how to support for the products, the user satisfaction. It could be some questionnaire or other things. How the people use the products. This is another data we can collect about the product. How we manufacture using the machine. How we do the inventory, the orders, and so on. And also the customer transaction, what the people like to buy together. Maybe it can give us some inspiration for design. And how we do the customer support, or about the supplier, the financial data, the green practices, and the product inspection or recycling, and many other things. Okay. So here, what I want to tell you is that we have a lot of data in industrial design, and we have the possibilities to use this data to do something maybe better, okay, to improve the design process. So how do we analyze data in data mining? The general way how to analyze data. There is a process I show you here. Generally, if we want to analyze some data, any kind of data, we have the raw data. Then we need to choose the target data, the data that we want to analyze. Maybe we have a lot of data and we want to choose the important data. Maybe also we need to do some pre-processing to change the format of the data, or to remove some noise and other things, or to do some transformation. And then we search in the data to find some patterns or something interesting in the data. Then it will give us some information maybe we can use to improve our design or improve our product and so on. So for example, if we have the data about how the people use the cell phone, some application, we can record everything they do with the cell phone, and we can try to find what are the main ways that the people use the application to try to improve the design after, and so on. So this is the main idea about how to analyze the data. So also one challenge, I think, for industrial design is that we have a lot of different types of data. We have the text data, like the reviews of the customer about the products. Maybe we have some spatial data, like the GPS data. Maybe how the people use, when they use a cell phone, where they go, and so on. We have other type of data we call time series, or video, audio, or maybe some sequence, what the people do with the product. They use our product, they press on some button, then they do something else. They open, they close, and then they put down the product on the table. So we can record what they do, the users with the product, and we can analyze this to find maybe something interesting in this data. Okay, so I did a little bit of research about what the people have been doing about data mining and machine learning for industrial design or the design of products. And there are many people working on this. Here I show you just some overview. If you are interested, you can have a look. Some papers, research papers, about how to use data mining in design from 2007 to 2016. So now I want to tell you my opinion about what I think are the key opportunities to use data mining or machine learning for the industrial design. I think there are some very good opportunities. So first, one key opportunities is to analyze what the user wants or needs. So using the data mining techniques, we can analyze, for example, the customer reviews. So if we have the reviews on a store, online store like Amazon or Jingdong, we can collect the data, the reviews, the text. We can do some data mining, use the software to find what the people like. For example, if we want to design a pen, we can look at the reviews of other pens to try to extract something from this data to learn. We can also try to analyze, understand the sale data of similar products. What are the characteristics of the products that are made by other people, okay, to learn how to design our product. Another opportunity that is very interesting, it is to analyze what the user think or how it reacts to the products. So here we can use a lot of technologies. We can use the sensor data, like the EEG. It is the something for the brain, to see the brain signals. Okay, we can use the feedback form, the questionnaire, to ask the people what they think about our design, about our product. And then using this data, we can analyze using the software to learn what the people like, to do maybe some predictions too. We can also go further, look at the emotions of the customer. So using the camera for the video, we can detect the emotions on the face of the customers when they use the product. We can look also at other type of reactions besides they are satisfied or not, like they are confused or they have the motivation to use our products, and try to know why they are confused, why they have more or less motivation, and so on. Also, another very important opportunity, I think, it is to predict how the user will behave using our products or as a customer. So maybe we want to predict what the customer will buy or not. Okay, will they buy our product or not? So we can use the machine learning, for example, to build some model of the customers and to test our products, the customer will like it or not, using our model. So there are some people doing this, okay. Also, we want to study maybe the customer buying behavior or analyze the manufacturing process or also the data about suppliers and so on. I'll not talk too much about this, okay. And I think another opportunities that is very, very interesting for the future of design. We could try to build the intelligent design systems. That means some systems, some software for design that will try to assist the designer, to help the designer to improve the design in real time when the designer is doing the design, okay. So we could have some design system that is intelligent, use the artificial intelligence. Maybe the system could predict how the customers will behave to some hypothetical design. So we can fix the design early. Maybe we can have some interactive design system that could help the designer create the designs that are the most successful, even before we test with the user. So we use some models of the user and we try to help improve the design made by the designer. We can also maybe have some design system that can be automatic, like to do the parametric design. That means we have some computer that will automatically do the design. Or maybe automatic is not so good, or semi-automatic. So not completely automatic, but the computer can propose some basic idea for design to help the designer. And also I think in the future maybe we could have some system for design that will be equipped with some knowledge about design theories and could teach some students who try to learn about design or to assist the designer to become some better designer or to get more inspiration or some new ideas, okay. So this is something maybe a little bit far in the future, but I think it is some interesting opportunities if we try to combine industrial design with the computer technologies like data mining and machine learning. Now I would like to talk to you a little bit about what I've been doing in my research. So within the industrial design, the product development, I have mostly focused my research about understanding or analyzing the behavior of the customer. So for example, how they buy the products. So here I will try to show you the main idea about this. I will not go very deep in the technical details because I think for today I just want to give you some overview, okay. So what I am interested in my research, it is what we call pattern mining. We have a lot of data and we want to find some interesting patterns in the data that will help us to understand the data. We want to learn something that is useful from the data, that is interesting, that will be useful for us, and unexpected, we don't know already, that can maybe then help us to improve how we deal with the customers and so on, okay. So in the research about data mining, there are many types of patterns that we can find in the data. I will explain to you some of them after, okay. So here I show you some example on the PPT. If we have the data about what the people buy in a store maybe, we can find that there are some associations or patterns in the data. So everyone who buy the cheese and the noodles and some other things will also buy another product together. And then if we find this kind of information, then we can maybe sell these products together or give some discount or try to learn why the customer like to buy these products together and so on. Okay. So in my research, I try to do the pattern mining, find patterns in the data. So our goal is to find the valuable knowledge and also that we can interpret by the human. So we want to find some knowledge in the data that we can understand, okay, to improve our design, our products, and so on, okay. So the type of data that I am interested in my work is what we call the symbolic data. It is the data that is made of symbols. That means not like numbers. So here I will just show you a few examples. I think it will give you the main idea. So first type of data is what we call the transaction database. This is about what the customer will buy in a store. Okay. So here, for example, we have some transactions made by different customers. Like the first transaction, some customer buys some products A, B, C, D, E. Like A maybe is for apple, B for bread, C for cake, and E for eggs, and so on. So maybe we have many transactions what the people buy, and we can try to find the associations. Like people buy apple, we also buy the eggs, and so on. Or people who buy this product will also buy this product. So after that, if we find such patterns in the data, we can maybe understand better the customer. Another type of data that we have is what we call a sequence. So here we have some sequence, A followed by B, followed by C, A, B, E, and so on. So it could be, for example, some sequence of actions done by the customer or the user of our product. So A maybe means the customer take our product in his hand. B means the customer opened the product. C means the customer closed the product. And A means maybe the customer put back the product on the table and so on. Okay. So we can have some sequence of, for example, actions about what the customer do with our product, and we can try to analyze this to understand. Maybe, for example, here in this sequence, we can see that when the customer do A, it will always do B after. So we have A followed by B, and then A followed by B again. So this shows maybe some habit about the user of our product. They always do A followed by B. So maybe we need to optimize our design for this use case. Okay. Also, another type of data is what we call a sequence database. Here we have many sequences. For example, what different customers will do, like customer 1, customer 2, 3, and 4. And we know what each customer do with the product. So we can try to find some things that many customers will do to try to understand again more about the customer and so on. Okay, so if we have a lot of data, as I said, we want to find some patterns in the data to understand the data. So how can we find something useful in the data? We have a lot of data. How can we find something useful? So there can be millions of patterns. For example, about shopping, as I talked before, we can buy apple with eggs, apple with bread, apple with eggs and bread, and so on. Many, many possibilities. So how to find the interesting patterns in the data? There are many ways, many measures to calculate what is interesting for the user. So what we call the support means what appear many times in the data. So for example, we want to find what the user will do most of the time, the most often with our product, what they like to do. Okay. There are some other measures, I will not talk in details today, like the utility. That means we want to find something make the most money, for example, and so on. Okay, so I will skip the details about this. So what we want to do, we want to use some software, our computer, to analyze the data and find these patterns in the data that will help us to understand our data. So here I show you a very simple example just to give you some idea about something that we can do. Okay. So this is a very popular data mining task. We call it the frequent item set mining. The goal is we have a database of transactions about, for example, what the people buy in a store. Okay. Again, we have a customer buy apple, bread, cake, and something else. Then we have many customers like this, and we need to set a parameter we call the minimum frequency or support, like 50%. So the idea is what we want to do. We want to find all the products, the items, the products that the customer will buy together in at least 50% of the transaction. Okay. So this is the result, what we want to find on the right. Okay. So here we find that Apple is purchased at least 50% of the transaction, because Apple appear in 2 transactions out of 4. Okay. Cake appear in 75% because we have cake, cake, and cake. 3 out of 4 transactions. And we have cake with another product D 75% of the time. So that means when the customer buy the cake, they always, most of the time, they buy D together. Okay. So if we find this kind of patterns in our data, we can understand more. Maybe sell the cake and the item D together to try to earn more money, and so on. Okay. There's some example to understand the behavior of the customer. Here I show you another thing we can do, more complicated, to understand about the customer. It is another task we do in data mining. We call the high utility item set mining. So the goal is not to find what the people buy often, but it is to find what will make the most money. Okay. So here it looks a little bit like what I showed you before. We have a database of transactions by customer. Like the first transaction, the customer buy 1 apple, 5 bread, 1 cake, 3 item D, 1 egg, and so on. Okay. Then we have many customers like this. And also we have some information about the money. Like 1 apple make $5 profit. 1 bread is $2 profit. 1 cake is $1 profit, and so on. And then the user need to set some minimum utility, some threshold, some minimum amount of money, and we want to find what the people buy together that will make a lot of money. So here, for example, we find that if we set the minimum to $33, this will be the result, what we want to find. Okay. So we find that when the people buy BDE together, it appears in 2 transactions, and it makes $36 for the business. Okay. So this is another way to understand about the behavior, the habits, or what will make the most money for when we talk about the customers. Okay. So here I did not explain how we calculate the money, okay, because I don't want to spend too much time on this, okay. But if you are interested, I could tell you more about this offline, okay. Okay, so another thing that we can do with the data, I want to show you some other example, is what we call the periodic pattern mining. We want to find something that the user of our product will always repeat over time. It will be periodic. So here what I have a sequence of events, what some people is doing using our product, for example. So at time 1, the user will do A and B. We do some actions with our product. At time 2, we do some action A. Then time 3, A and B, and other things. And here we have the time from the past to the future. And we can see something always repeating. So the user always do AB, then AB again, then AB again, and so on. So using some techniques we call the periodic pattern mining, we can find that the user always repeating something in our data. And then maybe this can be useful to improve our design if we know how the user is using our product and so on. So again, I will not talk too much about the details. Okay. So there have been a lot of work about data mining, about analyzing the data, and there have been also a lot of work on industrial design. I think today what we need to do in the future, it is to combine design with also more and more with the computer technology, but not just the basic technology, but also like data mining, machine learning, and so on, to improve. I think there's a lot of possibilities. So there are many things we can do. From the computer science perspective, we can also design the more efficient program to analyze the data. We can design program to analyze the more complex data, and also many other things. So before I do the conclusion, I want to mention that I am the founder of data mining software we can use to analyze the data, to find patterns in the data. The software is open source, is free. It is not so easy to use. It is more like designed for the programmers a little bit, but it can be used by some user, but maybe not so user friendly. But it has a lot of possibilities for analyzing the data. The software looks like this. You can choose some algorithm, like you want to find what the people buy together and so on. You can choose your file, a text file, and then you set some parameters, you click run, and then you will find the patterns in your data to help you understand the data. So our software has been used in many fields, not just about design, but many other things. Okay. So that is all for my talk today. My background is computer science, but I work also related to design in my center. I try today to give you some overview about how can we combine data with data mining, machine learning with design. I hope it has been interesting. If you have any questions, you can contact with me or ask me a question. I will be happy to discuss with you. Lastly, I would like again to thank the organizer of this forum. Thank you.